Hey friends, how we doing this morning? It's getting about that time of year again, so I thought I'd do this. As I've actually been asked a couple of times about our fire prevention rules and requirements and regulations. I went over it last year, but I wasn't quite as organized. And I found this really neat thing. It's the internet. I don't know if you guys know about it yet, but you can find just about anything you want on it. So I printed off the regulations and the levels that go through. So like I say, I'll be a little bit more organized. And the internet never ever lies to you, ever. So you can always trust it. It's www. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. Anyway, so no, I wanted to be a little bit more organized. With last year I didn't do a very good job on it. So let's start with the tools that are required to have on any logging operation after fire season begins. And oh, I thought I had the exact date it started, and I don't. God dang it. Anyway, so hand tools. And this could end up being a pretty long video. I may have to make a part 1 and 2 out of it, to be honest. So an operation is defined as any industrial activity, any development or improvement on forest lands, including but not limited to harvesting of trees, species, the clearing of land, the use of power-driven machinery, and the use of fire, excluding, however, the culture and harvesting of agricultural crops. Anyway, so hand tools. You have to have one tool per person with a minimum of 4 tools on the site. And it can be Pulaski's, axes, shovels, hazel hoes. You don't want to have all 4 Pulaski's or all 4, you want to mix it up. But you have to have at least one tool per person that's on the job site and a minimum of 4 tools. And then of course they want you to store it in a sturdy box that's clearly marked for fire only. And then each internal combustion engine used in an operation except power saws shall be equipped with a chemical fire extinguisher rated at not less than 5-pound ABC fire extinguisher. So everything, your pickups, your yarder, shovels, processors, the carriages actually have to have 2 now. And then the following shall be immediately available for prevention of fire suppression. And this is for the guys that are cutters and running power saw. Fire extinguisher, at least 8 ounces capacity. 1 round pointed shovel, at least 8 inches wide, with a 26-inch long handle. And then it says you must move the saw at least 20 feet from the place of fueling before we start it. And most everybody knows that. And then the same goes with each truck driven in forest areas or for individual purpose, which, your pickup or whatever. So you have to have the same 8-inch shovel with a 26-inch handle, 1 Pulaski with a 26-inch handle, and a fire extinguisher. So pretty much all that's, But then we have to have if you're going to be on a job for more than 2 days, you have to have a fire truck. And it has to be a minimum of 500 gallons. Pump must be maintained and ready to operate and capable to provide and discharge of not less than 20 gallons per minute when pumping through 50 feet of hose, equipped with a 1/4-inch nozzle in diameter at pump level. Water supply shall be a minimum of 500 gallons if it's not self-propelled. If it's self-propelled, meaning it's on a truck, you can get away with a 300-gallon tank. Because we do have like fire trailers. Anyway, so you have to provide 500 feet of hose. That's has to be 3/4 inch And then water supply at pump, at least 250 feet of hose shall be maintained and connected operating unit and ready for immediate use. So that means you bring your fire trailer up there, you have to have at least 250 feet of hose hooked to it right away. So you're working along, you see smoke, you can jump out, crank the pump up, and start spraying water. And then we have to have a fire watch. And this is what I think people need to follow a little more. Fire watch shall be on duty for 3 hours after all power-driven machinery used by the operator has been shut down for the day. Some ODF districts waive this requirement based on IFPL in place. Check with the district. And IFPL is the Industrial Fire Precaution Levels. So as a level, when it's just a level 1, you only have to do a 1 hour fire watch, and then a level 2, you go to 3 hours, and that's what they're talking about. But this is a part that fire watch must be physically capable and experienced to operate firefighting equipment. Now, I've noticed that a lot of people hire, and don't get me wrong, but retired people. They still want to work a little bit, make a little money, you know, they've got the camp trailer and everything you really need to be a watchman, but I've noticed that some of them, quite a few of them, would not be physically capable of using. And with fire, if you don't get it right away, 90% of the time it turns out to be catastrophic. So people really should. Anyways, you have to be physically capable of operating firefighting equipment, have facilities for transportation and communications to summons assistance, observe all portions of the operations on which activity occurred during the day, immediately proceed to control and extinguish the fire and summons assistance. So when they're fire watching, they don't just, if you're yard or logging, some do, but you're not supposed to. You don't just go up and sit on the landing and eat lunch and take a nap or whatever. You're supposed to be watching down where the blocks were. If you can drive around, you drive around the back, because like I say, 90% of fires are catastrophic, and we really, really, really need to do everything we can do to prevent fire, because it can put a lot of people out of work, put a lot of people in danger. So anyways, I was talking about the levels, the industrial fire precaution levels. Hi, old Yeti, how you doing? You get up this morning? Hi, Tasha. Good morning. No kisses. Anyway, so the levels go as 1, 2, 3, and 4. So as soon as fire season starts, and I thought I had the date down here because it starts on the same day every year, whether it's been raining for the last 2 weeks or not, and it ends on the same day every year, and I know the end date is November 1st. I thought I had anyway, so fire season, you're automatically on a level 1, and all that's saying is it's fire season. You have to have a fire watch, you have to have a fire truck, get your fire tools in order. Everybody start being mindful that it is that time of year. Smoking only in cabs, and this is, now when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about on public lands, BLM, state, Forest Service, whatnot. Most of your private lands, your big mills, Weyerhaeuser, Rossboro, Roseburg Lumber, Seneca, there's no smoking at all. As soon as you hit their property, they don't care if you're in an enclosed vehicle or not. So these rules, like I say, are for publicly owned lands, and I will try to get the rules on private lands. Now, most of them are the same. Some have a little tweak here and there, but so we'll go over that. Anyway, so like I say, fire level 1, you just have to have fire watch, you know, and be prepared. Get everything there, your fire truck. Oh, level 2 shows up. Limited shutdown. The following may operate only between the hours of 8 p.m. and 1 p.m. So, from 8 at night till 1 o'clock the next day, we can use power saws, feller bunchers, cable yarding, blasting, welding, cutting, or grinding of material. After 1 o'clock, you can't do that stuff. Oh, excuse me. The feller bunchers with the rotary heads, that's new. You used to be able to run a feller buncher clear up to a level 3, but now it's on a level 2. So like I say, you have to shut down at 1 o'clock. Now that's if you're running blocks, you know, like you're slacklining, high leading, or whatever. If you're just shotgunning, you can still work, and even using a motorized carriage, you can still work your normal hours. Now on a level 3, everybody's shut down, and your shovel logging, your cat logging, skidder logging, and whatnot. They can, on a level 2, they can work normal hours. On a level 3, everybody shuts down at 1 o'clock. And then it says the following is prohibited except as indicated. Cable yarding, except the gravity operated logging system employed by non-motorized carriage or approved motorized. So on a level 3, shotgunning is the only one you can do till 1 o'clock. And you may use, they just changed it this year, motorized carry. We used to not be able to use the Eagles, the Acmes, Bowmans, or whatnot, but they've changed it. You do have to put more fire extinguishers on them, and so on and so forth. Anyways, where was I? Oh, a gravity operated logging system employed non-motorized carriage or approved motorized carriages may operate between 8 p.m. and 1 p.m. Now, when you're changing roads or stuff like that, it says when all blocks and moving lines are suspended 10 feet above the ground except for the line between the carriage and the chokers, your drop line. So if you can hang your blocks up in a tree or something 10 feet high, you can still log till 1 o'clock. If not, when you hang it on the stump, you have to what we call grub. And you have to take, with it, let's say, you know, the stump's right here, you take an axe or grub hoe or whatever, and you have to take it down to mineral dirt, or 10 feet from the center of the block, 10 feet side to side, front to back. You have to dig it out, so that way when the line's going through the block, if it sparks, it goes out into the dirt. Now, most fires started on a logging side have been from blocks or line rub. You know, if a line's, their haulback or skidding line is going up over a stump or a log continuously, rubby, and we all know if you rub 2 sticks together long enough, it will start a fire. So that's why your blocks either have to be 10 feet in the air, or you grub the 10 feet from the center, from the pin of your block, 10 feet all the way around. The following permitted to operate between the hours of 8 and 1 p.m. where mechanized equipment capable of constructing fire line is immediately available to quickly reach and effectively attack the fire. And that's why I say that the shovel log and skidders or whatever could work longer, because if a fire starts, they can get out and construct a fire line quicker than a rigging crew could with grub hose and so on. Anyways, so ground-based operations, which I just said all that. Power saws on a ground-based operations. Rotary head saw feller bunchers with continuous fire watch. And tethered welding systems. We'll have to go into that tethering, but it's pretty cool. The following are permitted to operate between the hours of what? So between 8 and 1 you can run a saw on landing, and this is on the level 3 again. Loading and hauling till 1. At 1 o'clock you shut down. And people push it a little bit, but they want your log trucks loaded and on the gravel by 1 o'clock. Level 4, complete shutdown. All operations are prohibited. And as long and as far back as I can remember, I've been logging a few years. I have seen, and it goes by your district too. There's Lane, Benton, Lane County, Benton County, Douglas County. Douglas County will go on a level 3 before Lane County will, because it's drier, so on and so forth. Anyways, I have seen the district that I normally work in go on a level 4 twice in 20 plus years, and that's nothing. I mean, they don't even want four-wheelers, ATVs or nothing out there, because it's so dry and nasty. However, I have seen them like on a holiday weekend, a 4th of July or something like that. If we've had a super, super dry winter and the 4th of July is coming, I've seen them take the level from a 2 to a 3 or from a 3 to a 4 just for the weekend, to try to curb activities that some people may do over a holiday weekend, to help prevent a catastrophic fire. So, and you can, on these levels, like I say, let's say you're running a swing yarder with the grapples, it's going to have a block running all the time. Those people, they can get waivers to work on the level 2s and 3s, but they have to do a little more. They have to have more fire trucks, start stringing fire line down the unit so that if a fire started, it would be there, which I've done that. We've had fire line or fire hose strung, from the landing all the way down and back up to the back end, and every couple of roads you'd have to move it over to keep it closer. Stuff like that, or have a small 200 or 300 gallon fire tank that's set up on a system where you could grab it with the rigging and ship it out to help. So you can get waivers to work longer on these restrictions if you've got your stuff together. And then I think that's pretty much about it. I hope I covered everything. I'm pretty sure I did. I'm sure that by the time I edit this all up, there's going to be something I'm going to remember that I forgot to put in. So hopefully that helps you guys understand, because I have asked a couple of the subs that are loggers in other states and asked what their fire restrictions or regulations were, and they were like, I don't have none. So that's what we have to do here in Oregon to get ready for fire season and maintain through fire season and all that. So I hope it helped. I knew I forgot to say something. I wanted to let you guys know that I did start a Facebook, so you can find me on Facebook now under Alex Esgate. So I knew it. No, I knew there'd be something I'd forget. I was going to talk about we have to do humidity check. Now, like I said, on the state Forest Service BLM, we don't have to do the humidity. They advise that when the humidity gets down to 30% or 35% with a 2-mile-an-hour east wind, you should shut down. But and this kind of dove into the private ownership. You may be doing a state or let's say you're doing a Forest Service job. It's their land, but the mill you were working for bought the wood, so you are on Forest Service ground representing that mill. So then you go by all the precautions that I just read off, plus their regulations. And I do believe, I want to say I'm 99% sure that all of the private landowners require you to do the humidity check and the shutdown when the humidity gets down. So you could get to work at 5 in the morning, and some people use the look at that sun, isn't that beautiful? The Sling Kilometer. You know, it's got a wet bulb and a dry bulb. Pour water on the wet bulb, swing it around for 1 minute, see what the difference of the two, and that's how you get your humidity, or you just have an electrical humidity check. Anyway, so you can get there, you know, like I say, at 5 in the morning, and humidity can already be dropped down to 30%. You ain't working. And the same, like I said, on all of the publicly owned grounds, they, you know, smoking only in enclosed cabs or vehicles and stuff like that. But again, if you're there working for, you know, such and such mill, no smoking at all as soon as you pretty much leave the pavement. So in amongst all of the state regulations, then private owners have regulations too. And a private owner, they may require you to have a bigger fire tank or more hose. You know, the tools and stuff like that are pretty much the same, you know, all the way around the board. And then as the precautions go up, they may ask you, and depending on your area, you know, if you're in a really hard area to get to, they may ask you to put another fire truck on or something like that. And that brings me to another thing. During fire season, when there is a fire, you do not have to have a valid driver's license to drive a fire truck. If there's a fire and you are, you know, taking, let's say I don't have a driver's license and we have two sides going, and my side across town here's got a fire, so I shut my side down and I start hauling water. I do not have to have a legal driver's license to drive that fire truck to help put out that fire. It's just kind of silly stuff like that, how rules change. But as we start getting our truck and our tools and all that ready, I'll get some video of that, and I'm sure I'll remember other things as we go. Stay safe, get logs, come on.